Hello, today is the anniversary of the birth in 1917 of Diane Athill. She made her name as a publisher. She was the commissioning editor for Andre Deutsch, worked with quite a large number of well-known authors. And then when she retired, she started writing short stories and her memoirs. And there are 2 or 3 books that she's written talking about her reflections on her life. She talks about a relationship she had as a young woman with Peter. She and he were both in love with each other. They slept together, which they not that common in those days, but they saw it as a sign of their commitment to each other. And then the war came. Peter goes off to fight in the war in the Air Force, and towards the end of the war his letters become much less frequent, and after the war gradually they stop until one comes out of the blue in which he asks to be released from any commitment that they had to each other, because he's found someone else that he wants to marry. And she's deeply distraught about this, not entirely about the fact that he wants to marry somebody else, which she says she understood, but about the way he'd done it. She felt she'd been messed around with, she'd been played along and hadn't been kept in touch. And she says for 20 or so years this affected her outlook on life. She says she didn't want to get out of bed for 20 years. And then suddenly life began to look a bit brighter, partly because she discovered her ability to write, I think, but certainly she began to look more positively on things. And she describes how her life changed like this: you do not look up because you know you cannot climb the tree. You have forgotten by now that there is fruit hidden among its leaves, and then suddenly a velvety peach falls plumb into your hand. I'm still licking peach juice off my fingers. And I think many of us can point to moments in our lives when something suddenly happens which changes the way we look at things, sometimes the way we look at the whole of life. And indeed, I think that's a very good description of what we celebrate just now, the incarnation, Jesus coming, completely changing the way in which people were able to look at God. God appeared to the Jews to have left them. They had been, their beloved Jerusalem had been taken over, and they lost cohesion as a political force. They lost their faith in God, and yet here was Jesus coming, presenting a rather different picture of God. But here was a peach falling into their hands, a sign that all was not lost, that there was hope, that things might change, that they could look to a brighter life. And of course we are the beneficiaries, and all those who've followed Christ since then are the beneficiaries of that. We're still licking the peach juice off our fingers, enjoying the benefits of that gift of Christ, which suddenly changed the way everything looked for the world. And so today, as Christmas comes close, I just want to celebrate that good news, the way in which the coming of Jesus changed the prospects, not just for those of us who try and follow him and believe in him, but for the world as a whole, influenced by Christ's Spirit from that day through to this and beyond.